Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
The Bears.
Because of the way they play the nickel corner here, and the nickel corner plays 88-85% of the snaps. He's got to be like part linebacker.
The Bears.
When you're in a scouting room, there's going to be differences of opinion.
The Bears.
Once coaches get involved, of course, they've got their own opinions about what fits best for what they want to do, and that could be drastically different than what the scouts say.
Well, you're looking at traits, and number one, he tested very, very well.
The Bears.
One thing good about Kevin, he's been with two other organizations, as well as being the commissioner of the Big Ten. He's been around.
The Bears.
With Greg Olson, Jerry didn't want to get rid of him. I didn't want to get rid of him. Nobody wanted to get rid of him. One guy wanted to get rid of him. Mike Martz, because Mike Martz didn't know what the hell to do with him. We tried to talk Lovey out of hiring Mike Martz for a month and a half. He's playing zone, but number one, he doesn't get enough depth with the drop. But who the hell's Gilbert? How many times does a 305, 310-pound defensive tackle drop into coverage, especially in a key situation?
The Bears.
Greg, why are teams wrong on quarterback evaluation so often?
Number one, it's a hard position to evaluate. There's probably not as many real good quarterback evaluators as there needs to be.
The Bears. The Bears. The Bears.
Welcome, everyone, to a fresh episode of GTF, Gabriel Talks Football. My name is Aldo Gandia. It is another Victory Monday, and hallelujah, we've got a lot to talk about, and we'll be doing it throughout the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Ballroom Network is here for you. Subscribe, and you'll get alerts whenever we are live, and we've got a library of stuff for you to peruse, or whatever the word is. But right now, it is time for this gentleman to tell us all about the Chicago Bears, his weekend, and also his daughters.
Well, they had a great time, and they were at the Bills game. And
bundled up really nice.
Yeah, they put that picture on Facebook. So I took it off of Facebook, and then I sent them a text right away. I go, it wasn't that cold. What the hell are you all bundled up like that for? And so they said, well, we're at a tailgate party that started at 9. Now, games in the East start at 1 o'clock, not 12 o'clock. So they were outside 9 o'clock. Game gets over at 4. By the time they get back to their bus, it was like 4:30. So they were outside a long time.
Man, and Josh Allen had himself quite the day.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it was on. I got it taped because it was on across from the Bears game, so I might watch it later today.
Excellent. That'd be good, entertaining football. 3 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, but he got the job done.
Yeah, well. They've been playing up and down. It's a crazy season for them. But, hey, all I know is this team we're behind is 7-1 in the last 8 games.
Thomas Seeger, thank you very much for your donation, and Lutz's donation, too. He's on a streak of donating money to the barroom. And he asked, who is the Bears' 12th man? Answer, Dan Campbell. It looks like Dan Campbell might be having some trouble with his play calling.
Well, he didn't last week, I guess, but he did this week. And, in Philly. Hey, Philly, that's going to be a tough game now. That's going to be a real tough game. Philly is a very good football team. Looks like they lost their right tackle, Johnson, for at least 5 or 6 weeks. So he isn't going to be playing. He's got a Liz Frank injury. Right now, it looks like he doesn't need surgery. They're hoping he's back for the playoffs. But here's the best part about it, though, is, and I hate the term, if the season ended today, because that's not reality. And last week, we were tied with Detroit in first place, right? So put it out, and I must have got 20, 30 different tweets from Lions fans. You're not tied. We got you on the tiebreaker because we won the game too. And I calmly put back, tiebreakers don't go into existence until the end of the season. That's when they're used. And of course, they'd give me some more shit. So today, we get up. The Bears are in first place all by themselves. Green Bay's in second. Detroit's in third. And not only is Detroit in third, but if the season were in today, they're out of the playoffs.
Yes, indeed. How about that?
You know, I tweeted out, because you know I'm an asshole.
I'm not you, Greg.
I wanted to rile up some Detroit fans, and I go, hey, what happened to this if the season ended today scenario? Crickets, nothing.
Of course. Yeah, and all the Lion fans, they don't show up here anymore lately. What happened?
Well, you banned half of them, Berger, I say.
That is somewhat true. It was quite the game yesterday. You know, I hate to use the term winning ugly because when you win, it's a beautiful thing.
Bears win ugly, but so what?
But you know, since some of those other games that they won supposedly ugly, I argue with that. But that yesterday's one was an ugly win because the offense sputtered. You know, Caleb missed some throws early on. They could have, you know, and they didn't take advantage of all the miscues of the young quarterback for the Vikings, J.J. McCarthy. They give up the lead late in the game. But nonetheless, I'm happy that they won, but that truly was an ugly win. What's your assessment of the win in Minnesota yesterday?
Well, a win anytime you can get a win.
Absolutely.
And it's a win. You know, if it's a ugly win at home, that's one way. It's an ugly win on the road, totally different story. It's tough to win on the road. And right now, the Bears are 4-2 on the road. And if you want to make the playoffs, you got to win on the road. And they're doing that. Where'd you go?
I was blowing my nose, and so I was off camera. But Thomas Ziegler says, what travels well? What works in colder weather? A dominant offensive line and run game. I see a few more wins this year. Thomas is absolutely right. This team seems to be built for cold weather. And thank you for the donation, Thomas.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Minnesota was a tough team to run against yesterday. You got to give Flores credit for putting together a good game plan. Bears run game has been running on all cylinders the last few games. He tried to take it away. Caleb was off a little bit. DJ Moore probably had the worst game since he's been a Bear as far as drops. Yeah. But hey, you know, stuff happens, and
absolutely
you overcome it. You know, I didn't put a guarantee on last Monday because I said I wasn't sure I wanted to see the injury report. But if you watched when I was with Swifty on Friday, I did. So
excellent. I missed the Friday show with Swifty, Swift Sports Network. Greg Gabriel is there every other Friday. I think that's the schedule, right, Greg?
That's the schedule.
Okay, and so, but you can catch him here every Monday, especially after Victory Mondays. It is outstanding. Let's continue.
I'm glad though the coach gave him today off.
Yeah, that was cool.
Well deserved. And you know, when Lovey was here, if you won, regardless, it was Victory Monday, and the players had it off. This is the first time all season, win or lost, that he's given them Monday off.
That is awesome. And, you know, at this point in the season, guys, you know, are looking for that extra time off. You know, they got to work through the holidays and stuff. So that's really huge. Let's take a look at that locker room celebration, Greg. What do you say?
A little milder than usual.
I thought so too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, take a look at it.
Hell yeah! Man, here's what I'll tell you is 7-3, all right? First division win, all right? And, man, how similar was that to the first game we played against those guys? Okay? where you get the lead and then it gets a little bit sideways in there, and we learned from that, and it took all 3 phases there at the end, all 3 phases at the end for us to win. All right? Man, we have got so much to tighten up. I can't wait to watch this tape with you guys, but it's going to be after Victory Monday. Yes, Victory Monday. All right, I got 3 game balls here. 3 game balls. Number 1 is this, man. We don't get that field goal if not for Duvernay.
Man, all that mattered was getting that next one, and I was just, happy I could help you guys out. Yes, and now all that matters is the next one. Yes, sir.
Good, man. You talked about clutch when we needed it most, man. Let me get a little Cairo action.
Man, I love where our team is at right now, man. Like, it's not always pretty. I made a mistake, and I don't want to put our team in that situation again. But we all trust each other and have faith that we're all going to come clutch at the end. Duve, Caleb, everybody that put us in that situation. Scott, Tori, HT, hyped me up there.
All right, man. Last one here, man, is a special man. And a lot of you guys don't see what he does behind the scenes, but he worked here for a number of years. Okay? It's his birthday tomorrow, and I know this one meant just a little bit more to him. Kevin Warren, what do you Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
When you get my age, and the longer you live, you recognize 2 words. Trust God.
Yes, sir. Trust God. Bring on in! Bring on in! Bring on in!
Talk heavy. Talk heavy.
Good, better, best! Good, better, best! Never let it rest! Never let it rest! It's good gets better! It's good gets better! It better get better! It better get better! Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3, Bears!
Never gets old.
Yeah, but we might put that one 7th out of 7.
Yeah, I agree.
Little milder, but hey, we'll take them.
Absolutely. Did you have a problem with Kevin Warren getting a game ball?
No, not at all. But when he said been here a long time, I thought for a minute it was going to Tony Medley.
Now he deserves one. That guy
Tony has been there forever. I mean, we're talking well over 30 years.
Yeah. Jason says 2 words. Come on, Kevin. They should be bear down. But it appears Kevin, I don't know how old he is. He's got to be in his mid-60s by now. Maybe
I think he's in the mid-60s.
Yeah, he got a little emotional there, and so as the birthdays add up, it's really easy for us older guys to get emotional, especially when we're talking about how old we are.
I'm going to stop counting when I hit the next one.
There you go. That's a good idea. But it
was maybe I'll go backwards.
It was a team win. And Greg, one of the questions I have for you is, you've been around a lot of football teams. What is that special thing that all of a sudden clicks and that you start believing that we're not going to lose? We're behind. We've fallen behind. We've made some mistakes, and there is just a trust among each other. Talk to me about, what you have seen, what you have witnessed, what you've experienced with teams like that.
It's kind of hard to explain. And when you were asking me the question, what popped into my mind right away was going way back when I was playing football. I was playing minor league football. We won 27 games in a row over a 3-season span. And it was like, getting ready for the game and during warm-ups, and no matter what happened during the game, you were going to win the game. No matter what happened during the game, you were going to win the game, or we were going to win the game. And you just get that feeling, and you dig down a little deeper, and you play a little harder, and it just happens. And I know one thing: when we finally lost the game, it was devastating after going 27 in a row. But this team, a lot of it's the same thing. Hey, guys, it's young guys playing football, having a good time. They're just getting paid a lot more money than we saw.
Indeed.
But it's it's just you start believing in things, and you believe in the coaching staff, and you believe in each other. And, example, yesterday, Caleb did a postseason, post game, not really a press conference, but out on the field with Rinaldi. And he said, I'm not doing it without Cairo, before they went on the air, and he brought Cairo over. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like they take care of each other.
Yeah, that is awesome. And Cairo, by the way, is now he holds several all-time records for the Chicago Bears, including the most consecutive field goals, 27 in a row, the most field goals from 50-plus yards, 24 of those. He's the most accurate kicker in franchise history with 88.2% hit rate. I bring that up, Greg, because it just really breaks my heart when I see, fans on social media saying we got to get rid of Cairo.
Oh, I know.
It's just I don't get it.
They expect him, and really that's the way the kicking game is gone. When I came into the league, if you had a guy kicking 55, 60%, he was a hell of a kicker.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's changed. And now it's like if you miss one, you're in trouble. I tell you, there's one person, I saw the video and I thought, we ought to have her on the show for about 15 minutes. And I don't even know her last name. She follows me. I follow her. Her name is Maddie. Have you seen it?
I've seen Maddie. Yeah.
Big White Sox fan.
Right.
Anyway, she posts these videos of the, the last parts of games, the pass to Loveland a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And then she's, it's yesterday. She's got, it's like a 2 or 3 minute video. And, she's like, oh, my God, please make it. Please make it. And I'll take everything back that I said about you being off the team. And it was crazy. Yeah. And it's like, now part of it, she's on video and she's doing it for the video. I get that. Mm-hmm. But she gets over emotional. These guys are pros. They're supposed to do it. You know what? When he missed the other one, the third field goal, so one from about the same distance or 45 yards a little earlier, I felt he's going to make this one. He don't miss 2 in a row.
Right. He doesn't. I don't know if he's ever missed 2. Well, maybe once in his career, but nonetheless, he's very reliable. Now, I must say, I stand guilty of what I just accused other Bears fans, because at one point yesterday, I said something mean about Richard Hightower. I said maybe he should start looking for a realtor, because it just seems like the special teams keeps making errors and allowing big runs and stuff like that. Yeah, and so I'm glad that the special teams came through yesterday. But what is going on with special teams when players just don't seem to be executing? Is that a coaching issue? Is that because the depth on this team is not good enough because of injuries? What's going on?
They've brought guys off of IR, Homer, Ogbagminia, or whatever the heck how you say his name.
Amen.
Those guys have come off IR because they're really good teams players. But now, except for one return, the kickoff coverage was actually a little better yesterday. Mm-hmm. But they still gave up one that was too much. And you look at the Bears returns, they've had maybe 2 or 3 good returns all year, and one was called back on a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the one yesterday, and he did it right at the right time. It made it easy for Caleb. He didn't have to make a throw. They needed to get about 6 or 7 yards to be in the right spot, and that was that, and they got it. And by the way, I saw a tweet by Olin, and it was the last run before they kicked the field goal. It was about a 8-yard run by a running back, and the block by the right guard, Jackson, wasn't just a little block. He knocked that son of a bitch 9 yards down the field.
Yes. He's playing better and better.
Oh,
and
sure
every game that I've seen, John.
I'll tell you, I was one of the biggest detractors of that trade, only because he played horrible in Los Angeles, and the Rams paid him a lot of money, cost him money to get rid of him on the cap. you know, and I have some friends that work on the Rams, and they were just really disappointed. But turned it around. He's playing really good football.
Really good. Greg, can you do me a favor and adjust your microphone? It's rubbing up against the zipper there from time to time. And maybe, can you just maybe switch? Yeah, there you go. That might work better.
Okay.
All right. It's still
the one like that. You know, like when I was an altar boy, you know, I used to kneel and go like this.
You weren't an altar boy.
Yes, I was. Third grade through eighth.
That's amazing. All right, I want to respond to
true story. Got it. Just so I have the same nun in 7th and 8th grade, Sister Marie Edwards. She was positive I was going to be a priest. She just, you know. So we're sitting at home one Sunday, knock at the door. There's a Columban priest, father, whatever, at the door. Wanted to talk to me about my vocation. I thought you were freaking crazy.
That's hilarious.
I go into school the next day. I go, what the hell are you doing?
That's when you started misbehaving, huh? I got to respond to D-Mac here. He's got a question for you. We'll address that. But he says, we don't trust Cairo, Aldo, because he fails the eye test. That's facts. No, that's not a fact. D-Mac, that's your perception. That's not a fact, is what I just read out. The records that he has set for this team, the numbers of times that he's hit field goals from 50-plus yards, the numbers of times he has hit clutch kicks, those are facts. Your eyes could deceive you, and I'm sorry. You want to respond at all to that, Greg, before we get to his question?
No, I agree. You know what? Kickers get a lot of grief, and we can go back a long time ago to Robbie Gould. And people were getting dissatisfied with Robbie. Got to get rid of Robbie. Got to get rid of Robbie. Well, the worst thing they ever did was get rid of Robbie.
Yeah, he went on to have tremendous seasons.
He went on and had a great career at San Francisco after, and because people wanted to get rid of him. Bullshit.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. That was a big mistake.
Guys who are that good, that accurate. No, he does not have the leg. He's not going to make a 60-yarder. His longest is 55. He did I think he's done a 56 or a 57 in practice. You know, we'll take it. Because first of all, you know, with the head coach we have, if it's 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, he's going for it anyway to get it closer.
Wow.
And probably going to make the first down.
Yeah. Bird Dog 1980 just listed something interesting. He says that Pat McAfee on ESPN just showed something very interesting in that winning field goal. Tory Taylor, the holder, was still spinning the ball when Santos kicked it. Crazy that he was able to make that kick. I did not notice that. I'm going to take a look at it. But if indeed he is still spinning the ball, Greg, how much of a challenge is that for the kicker?
Well, it's got. I'm not a kicker. We'd have to have Robbie on, and
well, let's do that.
Well, their football season's over, so I think I don't know if I know Carmel Catholic and Jason McKee's team. They lost last week in the playoffs. So I don't know if Robbie's team is still playing. I don't think they are. But anyway, I did notice when he first kicked it, I thought it was going to go left again. But it had if you're a golfer, it had a fade spin on it. It went right or left to right instead of right to left, like a lot of kickers did.
Yeah, right.
And so it started going left and came back more towards the middle, which is, that's fine. And that's the way you kick the ball. And that's more than once that I've seen him do that. So it's not odd that he has that fade spin on it.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I just want to praise Cairo Santos. Is he perfect? No. There's only one kicker in the National Football League who has hit all of his field goals, and this was prior to yesterday's game. And I forgot who it was, but he's 17 for 17. But you rarely see that. Maybe every season you see one or two guys almost perfect, but rarely ever perfect. And
Cairo was a couple of years ago almost perfect when he hit the 20-something in a row.
Yes, exactly. So, and then Moody, we got to remember in the one game that Moody played, who hit the game-winning field goal, he missed one in that game too. So it was a performance very similar to Cairo. So
it's like with kickers, it's like being the backup quarterback. You're the fan's best friend, and everybody wants you. Until you really have to play, then.
Indeed. Okay, let's talk about the Bears offense. It was clear that Brian Flores was, up to his old tricks and trying to confuse the quarterback. This is what, where is it? This is Caleb Williams talking about the intricacies of Brian Flores' defense and the fact that he called some plays that they had not seen before on tape, at least against the Bears.
This week he brought a lot of corner CAD and things like that. We were able to either pick it up or get the ball out, or would see him and throw hot or throw a check down or anything like that. So I think overall we did a good job with that, and that was one of the wrinkles. And then he has a bunch more wrinkles that he's thrown in there. He had about a couple times throughout the game, dropping back. It's you're trying to figure out the coverage, and a bunch of different guys are flying in different areas, and it's always fun playing versus him because he's such a good D coordinator. And he has such good talent over there, and so a lot of respect to them.
I had to look up what a corner cat was, Greg. It's the cornerback blitz. Oh. That's what they call it nowadays. Everyone's adding new names to things we've seen for dozens of years.
Yeah, I remember this is way back when I was working for Buffalo and Chuck, when I just started off, so I was part-time. And Chuck Knox was the head coach. Name from the past, that one.
Yeah.
So anyway, he'd be having it. He had a radio show and take questions, every week. And people would say something about blitz, and he'd correct them because their terminology was red dog, not blitz. And so it's really what you just call it. It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I've gone through all of those different names. Many of them aren't used anymore, but they're the same place. So let's talk a little bit about Caleb's performance, because he was 16 of 32, Greg, for 132 yards. Not great. He missed in the first quarter. He missed some deep throws downfield, and that's Brad Biggs said that he talked to a scout about that, and he goes, that's the one concerning part of his game. He will definitely unleash his true potential once he starts hitting those deep corner passes. He seems to miss on those deep corner passes a lot. What do you think?
I go back to what Ben said. He goes, it's just repetition, getting more repetition, and getting used to the different receivers that he has. You go back to his college tape, and that was one of the best deep ball throws I ever saw. His deep ball in college was, I would think he probably hit 70% of those deep balls. He was on all the time. Okay, he's not on right now. So it doesn't mean he can't do it. He's just off a little bit. Is part of it adrenaline maybe? I don't know. But when you win a game and you miss a deep ball, so what? It's like, now we got to work on it.
Right. It's not like it's a super negative that you should feel bad about. Now you just go back and work on it.
But he had some balls yesterday that were really nice throws.
Oh, absolutely! Without every game, every week, he's throwing the kind of arm talent that is magnificent.
Oh, really is. And Tom Brady recognized it. I'm sort of glad that we've been hit with awful analysts until last week with Greg Olson, and then yesterday with Brady. Yes. And both of them kind of, probably helped the national narrative a little bit, because we're national or semi-national games. And those guys had been nothing but praise about Caleb.
Yeah, indeed. And I particularly enjoyed some of the comments Brady made about the Bears, but also towards the end, he was saying these two franchises, the Vikings and the Bears, are trying to achieve sustained success. And there's going to be games like this. And so he was absolutely right. One other thing about Caleb's performance that I wanted to bring out is for the season, he is now at 59% completion percentage, and that's about 10% than what
what Ben wanted. But
Ben,
very few. You go through. If there's one quarterback in a season that's hit 70, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And Goff is right now. I remember a few years ago, Josh Allen was at 70 for a good part of the season, finished at 68.
Mm-hmm.
If he finishes at 64, 65, 66, he's had a hell of a year.
Yeah. Indeed.
Okay. And you last week, what do you have? 6 drops last week?
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6 drops? Catch half of those and he's above 60.
Yeah, very, very true. I don't put too much credence on that completion percentage because there's so many different things about it. But I am concerned that it's dipped recently, and so
I know. There's no question about that, and it's something that he has to improve.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is he knows he has to improve it.
Indeed.
The coach knows he has to improve it, and he's trying to make some difficult throws in some situations. Some he makes some bad throws. The important thing is he's not turning the ball over.
Yeah, indeed.
He's got 4 or 5. How many interceptions does he have on the year? 4? He had 6 all last year. He doesn't turn the ball over.
It's been sensational with that. And just to some of the people in the chat, we're just nitpicking here, obviously, because we want to achieve excellence, and so we have
right now. Although I want to win games.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't give a damn how they win it. If it's ugly, if it's pretty, you want to win games because winning games helps build the culture.
I hear you.
Okay, I saw a stat on X right before we came on.
Mm-hmm.
Total wins by Eberflus on the road in 3 years.
So
3.
3 or 4.
Total wins by Ben Johnson on the road in half a season. 4.
Yeah, pretty damn awesome stat. That is, I was going to pull that. I'm glad you brought it up. A New England Bears fan has an interesting question because I was in a debate with somebody about this on social media. Do you think Caleb throws the ball too hard, causing the drops?
It's a good question. He throws a fastball now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked a little bit about this last week. There are throws where he's got to learn to play with a little more touch, not play.
Mm-hmm.
Just throw a little softer ball. And part of that's experience. He's going to know how open the guy is. He's going to know where the nearest defender is if he's got to get the ball over a guy or whatever. And then, he'll see whether he's got to fire it or he can lay it in there a little bit softer.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Rodgers in his prime was one of the best of that. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, he might not be able to play next week. I wanted to beat his ass here.
Oh gosh, I hope he plays.
Only
please.
So you could say we own you.
Yes, indeed. He according to one of the insiders, is pleading. I want to play. I'll do whatever is possible. So we'll see.
Yeah, if he's got a broken left hand, the chances of playing are little to none. He's got to be able to take the snap.
Yeah. Congen X with a nice $10 donation. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that.
He wants your opinion on the missed face mask call on Travis. Oh, my goodness.
When you see that, anytime you see a running back with a ball in his hand and his head goes like this, it's a face mask. It's obvious as hell. And that's exactly what happened. And then there's a pitcher coming from the opposite end zone. And the referee, the white hat referee, the lead guy, was no more than 3 yards, 4 yards away. It was right in front of him.
Indeed.
He was if you look at the picture close enough, he's looking right at it, which he's supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you miss it? Now, and that was the drive that Cairo missed the field goal on.
Yeah. That's right.
So had he
excellent point,
they would have had 15-yard penalty. You're going to get a lot easier field goal or you're going to get a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And what happened at the end of the game doesn't matter. That's how important that missed call was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. That just. Anyway, Spawn has a good one here about Benedict. Do you think he's a long-term answer at left tackle?
No, I think Ozzie is. I've been
Ozzie
saying
is?
it all along.
Right.
They're just trying to get Ozzie more comfortable with it, not force feed him. And we say it every week. You go back to what Ben says, and Ben says trust. And with Ozzie, it's just trusting his footwork. Now, probably fine now. In fact, when Benedict went out, it ended up only being a play. Ozzie went in, played. It was just a rundown. They got a first down, kept the drive going. Benedict came back in. But I thought, well, he might get a little chance to see what he's doing here. But it didn't materialize. But he's still got 10 snaps altogether on offense. Yeah. So he's getting 8-10 a week. It's not like he's not being used.
Yeah.
He's getting some snaps, and then you got PAT and field goal. Those don't count in the snap count. So it'll be. I think given an off season to work, he will be the left tackle a year from now. He's got the length that you want, and that's the thing that Benedict doesn't. But Benedict, he isn't going to give it up without a fight now.
Yeah.
Guy's a tough dude.
He is. Got to ask you about Darnell Wright. Danny Shimon did a really nice breakdown on last Wednesday's Buffon 55. And on some of those plays where Wright excelled at pass blocking, he did point out, Danny did, that there were still, some mechanical blemishes in Darnell Wright's game, like, keeping his hands a little too low at certain points. Yet, because of his incredible athleticism, he's able to get, away with some of this stuff. My question for you is, at this point in Darnell's career, having played 3 full seasons now, practically, do you think that he should be further along?
Well, I think he's having a Pro Bowl caliber year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Throw out just looking at the blocking, throw out what's he got, maybe 4 false starts. Throw out those, and he's having a hell of a season. Okay. There isn't anybody in the game that plays perfectly. Yeah. Are there little issues? Yeah. Don't forget now he's got a different coach. So he's being taught little different things. And that'll, as they keep this coaching staff intact, it'll improve as it gets better. But, some of the raw talent you see is rare.
Yeah.
And the power. I mean, the stuff you saw him do last week with that power was just crazy. And, like Theo, talk about hand use, and nobody's brought it up, but I catch it all the time. His hand use is his biggest weak point.
Oh, really?
He gets outside way too much. They could call holding on him a lot, and they don't, because he gets, you're supposed to keep your hands within the framework of the body, and he gets his hand way out here. And they could very easily call holding on that, and they don't.
Mm-hmm. Overall, I saw J2K saying, I think it was J2K, somebody said that the offensive line didn't have one of their better games yesterday. And I guess that might be right, at least from my opinion. What's your opinion?
Well, I plead I got to watch the tape, and you got to see to do offensive line correctly, you got to watch the end zone tape. Because then you're seeing the movement, you're seeing the hand
5 times, right? So you can focus on each player.
And so, watching a TV game and saying they didn't play good or whatever, I'll plead the fifth. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Was it as clean as what we've seen the last few weeks? No.
Yeah. I think, that while Brian Flores's defenses aren't statistically among the best in the league, he does really put stress on the quarterback and the offensive line in terms of knowing which guy to pick up and stuff. It's quite the challenge. So if the offensive line didn't have their best game, I would attribute that primarily to Brian Flores's creativity and his exotic schemes.
Well, yeah. If he's making looks a little crazy, and you end up blocking the wrong guy or whatever, then that stuff happens. But not a lot you can do about it. You try to make a correction during the game, in the course of the game, as you see stuff come up, and then you go from there. So
I just sneezed, by the way, but you didn't hear it because I am so good at these controls.
Well,
okay,
I caught a couple of minutes ago. You caught that one. You weren't that bad.
That's true.
I'll tell you when I'm coming.
Okay, just give me a signal.
One's coming like right now.
Okay,
so put me on mute.
On mute. You got it there.
There, I'm back.
I got it. Great job. All right, let's talk about the Bears' running game yesterday. I see a couple of complaints about Ben maybe not utilizing the run game as much as he could have earlier in the game, and I have to agree with that. I was a little bit surprised. Now, if Caleb hits those long throws, then I'm not worried about it. But I thought that he should have run the ball a little bit more. What's your take?
I saw some comments that had to be the worst game that Ben called, yada yada, and I ignore that stuff. You've got to be on the field and see what they're seeing, because my take was that Minnesota went into that game, Brian Flores went into that game trying to take away the run. I'm going to make you pass to beat us, and then we're going to rush the shit out of you. So I think part of that was Ben Johnson saw that, knew it, and thus called the game he felt was going to be better to call. You got to turn your thing on now. You're praising yourself, and now you got to wrap yourself upside the head. Bro.
Hey, I'm the Cairo Santos of producers. Miss some, get some. Kyle Monangai is really impressing the heck out of the casual football observer, the way this guy runs.
He's a north-south runner. He gets yardage after contact. He's not tall, but he is big, and he's real strong.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. J2K just popped up with this question. Greg, did you notice how upset Caleb was during and right after the game? Any insight into why? Post-game, he said they had a lot to clean up.
I think he wants perfection, just like everybody else does. And so he wants clean plays. There was a couple times where I saw him upset, or at least one time I saw him upset on the sideline. And I think that, and part of it too was, like there were some drops again. Yeah. DJ had a drop on what would have been a first down.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and frankly, we talked a lot about Caleb's body language and so forth, but I was not at all upset by the body language that, to me, was expressing frustration.
No, I think, part of it, and Brady expressed it. He said, now you're seeing him grow as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And he's letting other people know, good quarterbacks, ream the rear ends of some of their other offensive players when they're on the sideline.
Indeed.
Because it's his way or their way getting after it. And you don't, you seldom see it, but the good ones do it all the time. Peyton Manning used to be a screamer. So did Tom Brady.
Yep, indeed.
The good guys do it. So is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I wish I would have pulled more of Caleb's post-game comments, because he really sounded very thoughtful and to me, he's almost graduated to a true leader position. I do have this one. It's about 1 minute and 10 seconds long, Greg. And this is him responding to a question. Kevin Byard said, we still have to develop our killer instinct. And
I saw it. You put it up on X. I saw it. It's a good clip.
Yeah. So I'm going to share it with our audience here. It's about 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Part of it. Because you have to have a killer instinct to be in these games and finish these games the way we have. To fight all the way through and come out victorious, you have to have a sense of killer instinct. But for the idea of killer instinct, speaking on when there's blood in the water, we got to go and when the defense turns the ball over for us and we get the ball back, we got to put up 7 points. When they get 3 and outs, we got to put up 7 points. And that's a mindset and belief that we have to grow towards and get better at. And that's something that I was preaching on the sideline, and I'm going to keep preaching that because we have so much talent, we have so much belief, we have so much of a great coaching staff, and all these different things. And there's not a time for me that I want to maximize the most than when I'm out here with these guys. And so having the killer instinct in those moments is really important to me and for us as a team because we have, like I said, we got the coaching staff, we got the players, we got the talent. We just have to go out there and do it.
How many times did he say coaching staff besides probably 5 or 4?
Yeah.
He really appreciates what he's being taught. And he think when he's asked a question, you can see him pause and he thinks about it before he just spits out an answer, which is the way he used to do it. So yeah, I agree with you. It's not just leadership, it's maturity.
Indeed.
And he is really going. I think the days of people wanting to bitch about Caleb Williams should be gone. Okay, somebody said, yesterday was the 5th game-winning drive, and some guy tried to argue, well, he handed the ball off, so it wasn't a game-winning drive. I go, ask the statistics that he was the quarterback in the drive that got the touchdown.
Indeed.
Whatever.
There were drop passes too, as somebody pointed out in the chat. Durham Smythe dropped the pass that should have been a first down, and it affected a drive. There was a couple of other ones. DJ Moore's huge.
Probably in the last 2 weeks, there's probably been 10 drop passes.
Yeah, what do you attribute that to? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, is it a fastball? You can't say it was the weather because you're in a dome there.
Right.
So it's concentration. I think at DJ's part, because he really almost had another drop, and it turned out to be a miraculous catch on probably the same pass play.
Yes.
Looked like it. I think he is just trying to go before he knows he's got the ball.
Yeah.
So he's not looking it in and then going. He's trying to go first, and that's just a little bit more concentration. Make sure he got the ball.
Indeed. So, and I thought also getting back to the run game that DeAndre Swift had some key runs. I mean, he gets a lot of crap too. Doesn't run between tackles.
I was thinking the same thing. He had a couple inside runs where he was low and really moved the pile a little bit, broke some tackles. And I'm sitting there like this, hell of a run. And, he's not appreciated for the talent that he has.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And by the way, I wanted to say one other thing when you were talking about Caleb is, the praise that you and I and so many others are bestowing on Caleb does not mean he's not going to have a clunker of a game from time to time. It happens to all the quarterbacks and even the greats. So he might come out against Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, probably more likely, and have a poor game. But it doesn't mean that this guy isn't on a trajectory to be one of the league's best quarterbacks. Indeed. All right. Got to talk about Nashawn Wright. My man here, Professor Jar, said, congratulations to Wright. First game against the Vikings, a long interception for a touchdown. Yesterday, he got an interception against his former team. He played so awesome in his revenge game. And, Greg, do you know who John Beam is?
No, I don't. I saw his praise, but I don't know who he is. And I didn't have enough time to go Google it and try to find out. But it was obviously a coach he had early in his career.
Yeah, and this is
probably college.
It was college, and apparently from a university. Then Netflix did a feature on called Last Chance U.
Right.
It's a school where they bring in troubled
The guy that got killed last week. Then I know who he is.
John Bean, correct.
Yes.
So this is right after the game, talking about how he was inspired by Beam. It's really heart-wrenching.
He meant the world to me. When my dad was killed, he came to my house and got me out the bed, and someone I can confide in, someone that I love dearly. We talk once a week easily. Really at loss for words.
When did your father pass?
My dad was killed in 2017. Beam stepped in as a father figure, a father role. He did a lot for me and my brother, my family. He's been there every step of the way, and it won't stop. I gained the angel, so for sure.
It's heart-wrenching, man, and that relationship.
Really is.
Talk to me about the relationship between coach and player. What kind of a bond these guys develop?
Yeah, it's really different with every player, and there's just some coaches that take to a player, or a player takes to a coach, and they kind of gravitate towards each other, and you become real close, and then you open up and confide. It sounds as if this guy really reached out after his father got killed. The impression I got, and I didn't watch that video, this is the first time I saw it, I didn't see it yesterday, was that he didn't really want to talk about his dad in that situation, whatever the situation was. And, the reporter kind of pressed a little bit, and you could see by the look on his face, it's like, no, don't go there. But the fact that this other coach stepped in and acted as a father figure and could help guide him and help him make decisions, that's big for him. You could see the guy was hurting because now he's lost two father figures, so to speak, his real father and then his surrogate father.
Yeah, indeed. Great stuff there. And Nashawn, when he got that interception, he had been burned on a couple of plays prior, and maybe one of them wasn't his fault because it looked like they were in the cover three, and maybe Byard got sucked in a little too much. But nonetheless, Addison, he had his hands filled with Addison, and for him to come up with that interception in the end zone was huge. And his words about John Beam are quite heart-wrenching. Good stuff.
Look at his play. He's a tall, long corner, which a lot of defensive coordinators like because they're good in press coverage. But because they're tall and long-legged and long arms, but more the long-legged, is that they're not as nifty or sudden as, say, somebody like a Nate Vasher type thing, who has got that real jet quickness in a short area. And so you can beat him on some moves where he doesn't have his hands on you and the ability to try to what we call reroute the receiver early on. And that's what I think Minnesota was. They had him. They know what his weaknesses are. And so they were trying to put him in a position that they could beat him. But, you go to the well too often, and sometimes you get burned a little bit, and they got burned. We really shouldn't. You think about it, last week, was it last week he had the drop in the end zone?
Yes.
Or was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah. So, he's got 4 interceptions. He very easily could have 5.
Indeed. Sports Chicago style makes a good point. Credit also Al Harris, the Bears defensive backs coach. He develops that similar bond that Beam does with his players. He's such an advocate for giving players like Wright a chance. I think Wright is here with the Bears primarily because of the endorsement of Al Harris. I believe I read somewhere. So that's good stuff. Let's continue to talk about the secondary because Jalen Johnson might make his return against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and if not, then
I think he's 2 weeks off. I think he's
so Okay. So let me ask.
Here's why, and he's missed 9 games, 9 weeks,
Right.
Maybe 10 weeks because you got the bye.
Yeah.
And he hasn't. Now, obviously, he's doing something. And when Ben said last week, he saw him I think we talked about this last week. Saw him in the weight room, and so he. You knew that he wasn't that far away because he had core muscle surgery. So if he's lifting weights, the core muscle surgery is fixed. He's done.
Yeah.
He couldn't lift if that was the case. So, or if it wasn't the case. So now it was a matter of just getting his conditioning up to par. So, what has he been able to do the last couple of weeks? We don't know that. He's only had 1 practice. He'll have 3 this week. They'll make a decision on Friday. And part of that, you don't want to see him rush it back, but how bad was Tyreek hurt yesterday? He got hurt, didn't finish the game. Yeah. So if that's the case, if you have to have him, maybe they force him back this week. But I've been thinking all along it's going to be Philly. And you can get Kyler Gordon back this week too if you want. If he's missed the 4 games.
But he'll probably need that week or so of ramp up time.
But he's been less away from football than JJ has.
So what are we doing, or what are the Bears doing in their defensive backfield when Jalen Johnson comes back, and if Tyreek Stevenson is healthy?
Then right sit.
So I'm sorry.
Right sits.
Right sits. Okay, which is where he belongs because he was brought in as a backup corner. Right. So we would see Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, and Kyler Gordon in the slot. Now, when Kyler Gordon is not ready, who's going to be in the slot? Is it going to be CJ? Okay, that's right, of course.
Now, the question I had is this, because I think Tyreek started off a little slow, was real strong, missed a game, and then was a little rusty after that missed game. Wasn't too bad yesterday before he got hurt. My one question was, if CJ keeps playing the way he does, and this is hypothetical because I don't. Do you put Kyler outside and replace Stevenson with Kyler and have JJ on the other side? So now you're getting into a good situation.
That is a very good situation, absolutely. And I wouldn't mind seeing that on the football field. And
now we were talking with Swifty. Swifty brought up this. He goes that the DA likes to do a 3 safety look sometimes.
Yes.
And then you could drop CJ back as a 3rd safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good job by Swifty. He digs into that tape and has good observations and stuff. Swiss Sports Network, check out Greg there. Not this Friday, but the following Friday. But just check out Swiss Sports Network. They're always churning out great material.
Well, we won't be able to do it the Friday after. We've got to get.
That's right. That's right.
I'll have to go Saturday or something.
Or do
I'm
one of those.
And I'm going to be in enemy territory for that game.
You're going to be up in Detroit, huh?
That's right. But I fixed the problem. We were supposed to go to the game, or be in Detroit next weekend, and I talked to her and say, no, we're not leaving until after this game Sunday, and then leave. And but I'll be there when I do this next Monday.
Okay. Would you consider doing a play-by-play? Podcasters now are watching the game and then commenting on it live. Would you consider doing something like that?
No, then I can't concentrate on the game.
Exactly. That's why I don't do that. Kudo. John Hammer says GJ played all snaps on defense yesterday. Brisker actually sat out a few. And Gardner Johnson played strong safety and Blackwell in the slot on some plays. What do you think about the play at Jaquan Brisker? A number of people in the chat are concerned. One person, I think it was Laz, said that it seems like he isn't as physical as he was in the past.
I disagree with that totally.
Okay. Do you think the concussions have altered his play
Not
at all?
I don't think, I think we've talked about it. I think that's imagination on people's parts.
So
he's playing as physical as he ever been. Is he being careful not to drop his head? Probably.
Mm-hmm. Right, which you should.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing I just never understood. You see all these guys, and they come in and they drop their head, and they drop that. I only had to be told once. Don't put your head down. You might break your neck.
Yeah, that's all I need to hear.
I got it. One time. You know, and then you see all these guys leading with their head, and they go, what the hell?
Exactly. Hey, Greg, I used to play tackle football without equipment in Humboldt Park, and I wasn't playing in this particular game, but I heard a coach tell his running back, don't expose your neck like that. You might get it broken off by a tackler. And so he wanted his running back to run like this, and so when he said you might get your neck broken, that's how I started running. I looked like an idiot running with the ball like that. But was he right?
Hey, you can't see if you got your head down.
Exactly.
Okay, it's real simple.
Head up, and don't expose the neck. Whatever you do.
I think one time I got hit in a way where I could feel it in the back of my neck. And I mean, it wasn't severe, but you felt something, and it was like, okay, I must have had my head in the wrong position. And I was literally, since the very first time I was told, keep your damn head up, I kept my head up.
Laz wants to challenge you. Says, come on, Greg. Brisker made 0 plays. In fact, he's taking interceptions away from his teammates. He did break up a play there yesterday that looked like Tyreek had an easy interception.
They're both going for the ball.
Yeah. You can't.
Okay, I mean, come on.
I'll respond to Laz by saying you can't complain that he isn't being physical enough and then criticize him for being physical.
And knock Stevenson out of the game.
Yeah. I think anything, Laz, is that because of the injury issues in the secondary, that usually is a reason why some players, their play might not be as good as it's been before, just simply because the entire unit, guys not being in their place, guys being a step late to their spot. Is that fair evaluation for me to offer up?
Yeah, I have seen really nothing wrong with Brisker's play all year.
Mm-hmm.
Was there concern at the beginning of the year? Of course. And because he missed so much time. But to me, he's been back to normal.
Yeah.
And so, like I just said, he might be aware that he was dropping his head and putting himself in position to get a concussion. And so he's not doing that and leading with his head. But aside from that, hey, the secondary has really played well. Well, he might only have 1 interception, but so what?
Yeah. I mean, I know our defense gets a lot of crap, and sometimes it's deserved. But for a defense that has lost so many starters to injury, under a first-year defensive coordinator, I'm proud of the way those guys have been playing. And I want them to play better. I want them to play flawless football, but I understand the position that they're in. They haven't been dealt.
All told, you look at the yardage and stuff they gave up yesterday. They played a really strong game. It's not easy to shut out another National Football League team.
Now, when somebody says, "Well, J.J. McCarthy really helped them with those,"
God, he was terrible. I mean,
he was.
He was at a point where he literally couldn't hit water from a boat.
Yeah. I mean, and if we would have lost to that guy, I'm not sure I'd be here today talking to you, Greg. I mean, there's no way the Bears should lose to J.J. McCarthy.
Well, I think, he's a Chicago area kid, so he's going to be hyped up.
Yep.
And he had he actually stunk for 3 quarters in the last game, and then he had a fourth quarter.
And he was named player of the week.
If it's not for that return where they got the first touchdown, I don't think the second one ever happens.
Mhm.
But, they got a little momentum with the kickoff return, and then a few plays later, they get a touchdown. It's the way it is. I still felt the Bears were going to always win that game. In fact, again, I'm watching on the clock, and I said, if there's more than 50 seconds, we got plenty of time.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I felt good about our chances too, although I was so frustrated with that. Allowing JJ to celebrate. But I got a question for you about JJ. He has spoken openly about his mental health issues, and in that game, I see some of his own teammates, slamming helmets, Justin Jefferson, and the upset. Do you think that this young quarterback could be questioning himself and could be thinking, I'm letting down my teammates and so forth, and he could get into a funk that could ruin his first full year as a starter?
To be fair, although I don't think you can answer that unless you're around him.
Yeah.
So really, no. The last thing we want to do is throw a dart at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't know anything about his, like you mentioned, mental health issues. He's a highly competitive kid. I really liked him at Michigan. I think he had the right mindset. He's got talent, but he's got to settle down. Here's reality. He's only played 5 games.
Yep.
Yeah, it's near past the halfway point of his second season, but he got hurt in the preseason last year. He got hurt this year, and he's played in 5 games. He's still a freaking rookie.
That's right. And a guy that didn't throw the ball much at Michigan. So it's going to take a while for him to develop. Yeah. And I hope the Vikings are develop him in the proper way. Not that I want to see him do well against the Bears, but just for the kid's sake.
Well, hey, you know how it is with division games. They're always, except for that blowout right week 2. Division games are tough games.
Yes, indeed. Great. I've talked to bettors who will say division games are the hardest games to bet on because so many weird things happen.
And it's not like Ben's new to the division. He's been in the division the last 3 years as a coordinator. He's just with a different team. But you got a book on what he likes to do and what he doesn't like to do.
Hey, we got a Detroit Lions fan in the chat. He says, I'm happy for you guys. The Bears have sucked for so long. You deserve a few weeks of happiness.
You guys sucked for like a century. So
and still have never been to a Super Bowl.
Thanks, buddy. No, really.
And I like the comeback from Tom G. He says, condolences on the Lions window closing. Good one, Tom. Oh, gosh. Okay, let us talk now. We won that game because of resiliency, and Ben Johnson said this.
They just understand that we are really talented, and so it's just a matter of time before someone's going to make a big play for us. And so we've got playmakers on offense, defense, and special teams, and someone's going to show up and end up giving us the spark that we need. So.
We talked about it, Greg. This team is starting to believe. They got this expression of being in the known, which I don't understand completely, but I think it means that they know each other and they know what they're capable of. And so that's why they're pulling these games out.
I think that's what part of when we were talking earlier about Caleb has some frustration. He knows firsthand what's around him, and there's a lot around him. And so if he doesn't have a good throw, or if somebody makes a mistake in running a route or whatever, that's going to be frustrating for him. And it's, if he's pissed off and he jumps on a player because he made a mistake and he didn't run a good route or whatever, I find nothing wrong with that, especially given the fact that he's the quarterback. If you see him hang his head, that's a different story.
Yeah, good point. Yes. All right, let's get to some questions here that I have saved for you, sir. By the way, nice compliment here from E-Flat. He says, at least Greg can analyze team weaknesses without crapping on a winning team. The Score Sports Radio, on the other hand, act like the Bears are 3-7.
All that, I haven't listened to talk radio, sports radio, I think since the winning streak started. I refuse because they're just total bullshit.
Yeah.
And I finally said, I'm just not going to listen anymore. People can talk about them all they want, but they want to, negativity must bring in numbers for whatever reason. And so they're going to find something negative to talk about. I know one thing. In the last 8 games, they're 7-8. Okay. They're one of the best teams record-wise in the National Football League over the last 8 games of the season.
Right.
End of discussion.
End of discussion. I like that. All right. Already, Team Skeletors asking if you're going to guarantee a win against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
All right, baby. Even if Aaron Rodgers plays, it's a guarantee.
I want him to play. I think they got a less chance of winning with Rodgers playing. I think he sucks now, and the other guy can move around a little bit.
Thank you, Lance. Yes, you're absolutely right. Mason Rudolph, he can move around a little bit. Here's an interesting question that has gotten the chat room debating it, and that is, what did I do with it? When it comes down to the safety position, it comes from vitality. If financially you were forced to choose between Bayard, shorter and cheaper contract, and Brisker, more money for longer, what are you choosing in terms of contract? And that could be a choice that polls will be up against.
Well, Brisker is in his, and part of it's going to be Brisker's in his 4th season, ending his 4th season.
Right.
Bayard's 31 years old, I think. And so, and last year, 2024, Bayard had a very average season by his standards. This year, we're seeing what everybody else has seen of Bayard in previous years, which has been Pro Bowl level play. But if you're going to bet on the future, most front office guys are going to go with the younger player.
The thing, though, is, Greg, is how the NFL, not just the Bears, treat the safety position. Every year in free agency, the position that is loaded with the most. Well, I'm sorry?
It's not a paid position.
Yeah, right. So why would you pay Jaquan Brisker if you can get Bayard at less than half the cost for another year or two?
Well, you can probably get Brisker at that too, because Brisker's missed time. I mean,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Okay, so it's not a position. Bayard is a past Pro Bowl player. Brisker's never been to the Pro Bowl, but he can be, because of his physicality, his range. He can be the type of guy that can spark a defense. It's really going to get down to. And I don't know who his agent is. I don't know who Bayard's agent is. Getting a deal done. And so I get it. Some players could say, hey, I want as much money as I can play. It's going to be my last contract or whatever. I get it. But then other players are going to say, hey, we got a pretty good thing going here. I might take a little bit less to stay here. And, we don't know the answer to that.
Les says, Brisker does nothing for me. And the scroll says, keep Bayard around to groom the next guy. Pause.
Well, you just signed a guy for basically nothing 3 weeks ago in CJ. So he's going to be available too.
Yeah, indeed. So that is interesting that just about everybody in the defensive backfield, with the exception of Jalen Johnson, they have a contract coming up.
No, not Tyreek does it. Tyreek's in his 3rd year.
Correct. You're right. But a number of players. So, all right, let's get on to another question from Vitality. I was infuriated with the way Isaiah Rodgers tried to tackle Cole Kmet and was happy with the result. Rogers got hurt, Kmet did not. If you cannot tackle with proper form, you deserve to be hurt because one of them would get hurt. Wow, vitality. What kind of attitude is that?
I don't remember the exact. I remember twice Kmet ran over people.
Both players lowered their heads at the same time, and Rogers had to go to the medical tent, and Cole kept playing.
Well, yeah, and that's right. Now, and somebody said, well, should that if it was college football, would that have been
right
targeting on Cole Kmet's part? And I'm going to say no because he was pretty darn low.
Yes,
and he had the ball in his hand, and the objective is to stay low, and it was the defensive player coming at him who made contact with the helmet, not Cole making contact with the defensive player's helmet.
Yeah.
That makes sense how I'm saying that?
I think so, but repeat it one more time.
He's running with the ball. He's trying to get extra yardage. He's running low. The other guy comes flying in to make a tackle. The guy who made contact with his head, led with his head, was the defensive player.
Yeah, that's how I read the play too. I mean, both players went, lowered their helmets, and so I think.
And the defensive player took the brunt of it.
Yeah, I mean, Cole is a bit bigger than that defender, so that's the law of physics at work there. J2K says, Greg, the kick return from Duve looked like a great play call by Hightower that was clearly schemed up well. Can Hightower redeem himself this season, or is it too little, too late? Excellent question, J2K.
I don't know if it really schemed up. The blocking worked.
Well, here's what Brad Biggs said. I don't know if you read his 10th.
No, I haven't read his 10 things.
He brought out that they sometimes Hightower will match up his guys on the kickoff return team to, okay, you're going to move over here. You pick up that guy because that's a better match. You move over here. You pick up that guy. And that's what he did there. Travis Homer made a beautiful inside block on a Baker guy, but Hightower knew that he could handle that guy. And he also moved a couple of other guys.
Okay, so then I'd go back from a standpoint of why haven't you been doing that earlier?
Yeah, I mean, and apparently he did, but the players didn't execute it as well as they did yesterday.
Well, yeah, so I mean, that's what they get. The returns have not been all that good because the blocking hasn't been all that good. Right. The runner can only get what's there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, can he make somebody miss? But you got a limited area. If you get blocking, you only have to break that one seam. You break that one seam, you're going to get a long return. And it's to me, it's the job of the special teams coordinator. You know, I worked with this kickoff. It's the same kickoff we used in the XFL. They got it from us.
Yes.
And you know, when I first saw it, I go, "Oh, this is ugly." And you know, we're just playing a scrimmage way until there was live contact. And then as you started to learn about it, there's a really good special teams coach can do things with it. But it's all a matter of having the blocking right, because you got your two return guys. We only used one, so we had one more guy up near that wedge, if you want to call it that. But it's making sure your blocking is right up front, because a lot of those blocks are just one-on-one blocks. Yeah. And if you bust that one line of defenders, you're going to have a big return because there's nothing behind them.
Yep. You know, I always hate to see a guy lose his job, but I think Hightower. Here's what I think: the evaluation on Hightower should be made at the end of the season. There's no way you're going to get rid of him during the season. It's just not.
No, it's funny, as we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and then the next week, Pete Carroll fired his special teams coach.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes, I thought the same thing. But you know, the Bears aren't going to do it. The special teams have been, as someone just put up on the chat, it's been up and down, and there's been some good things.
That has probably been, lack of a better term, the Achilles heel of this team.
Yeah,
is the inconsistency. And I don't want to say field goal. I want to say kickoff coverage, kickoff, And those are the main two things: kickoff coverage and kickoff. Because punt return has been okay. It's the kickoff coverage and the lack of returns on kickoff that has been a distraction, a weak point. It's not where it should be. If you see what other teams are doing, when you see the yardage or the way they stop teams. So it's, what are they doing wrong? I don't know, because I'd have to really study the tape and that's time consuming, and I'm too lazy to do it right now.
I'll tell you what, just a couple of weeks ago, I did study special teams tape just to look at Travis Homer to see if all these naysayers who are saying, why is Travis Homer on the team, to see if they had a good reason. And I'll tell you what, Travis Homer plays special teams at a high level. And that's why he is on this team. He may not be a good running back. He may not be good at anything else in his entire life, but as a special teamer, he can get it.
You're going to have, throw out the kickers. You're going to have 3 or 4 guys on that team that's their specialty.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to make it. He might be the 8th running back when you look at the talent, but he's going to make it because he's the number 1 team's got.
Yeah. Christian Mercado comes from the same neighborhood I came, Humboldt Park, and he gives us
You got a Humboldt Park in Buffalo,
Really? Was it filled with Puerto Ricans? I don't think so.
No. But no, it's funny because there's a lot of stuff here that we like the exact same name in Buffalo.
And when I moved into the Humboldt Park area, this was in the late 1960s. The area was primarily Polish. 10 years later, it was primarily Puerto Rican. And you never saw as much graffiti up in buildings as we inflicted on the neighborhood. But that's a story for another day. Christian, welcome, and thank you for the compliment. All right, more questions here. Dr. Truth. Greg, how much do you like Ford Field better than the Silver Dome?
Oh, yeah, the Silver Dome was
horrendous, right?
I'm not going to say it was horrendous. I'd been there a lot to scout games and to watch games. Back then, during the preseason, we'd always go out. Scouts would always go out to the preseason games.
Right.
And I, worked for the Giants, living in Buffalo. I always ended up going to Cleveland or Pittsburgh or Detroit because it was real close. And, I had a ton of games there. And it was, it's built like those. It wasn't a multi-purpose stadium, but it was kind of like built like a multi-purpose stadium with a roof on it.
Okay.
It was one of the early domes. And, not Ford Field is really a nice place.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time at Ford Field, Mitch Trubisky game 4 or 5 years ago. Anyway, Greg, this is from Siran. He says, do you think the running back has dropped from a top 3 priority for this team in the offseason? Maybe this is the room for 2026 too.
Swift's got another year contract. Monungai's on his rookie year. Mm-hmm. If there's a really good back, I'm not taking one of the first of all, they're not going to get a shot at Love from Notre Dame. I mean, he's going to be a top 5, top 6 player. But I'll tell you what, if I'm sitting in the second round and Jadadian Price is there,
woohoo! Got to take him.
If he's at any other school but Notre Dame, he's a first-round pick because he's getting 1,800 yards.
Yeah, amazing.
He is that good.
Yep, indeed. You know what, Greg? I there's definitely going to be new blood coming in next season in the running back room. Are they going to be able to win the starting job or the primary backup job? I don't know. But they're going to bring in running backs, right?
Run, yeah, and in previous years, right now we'd already be talking about that stuff.
That's right. Why are we talking about it now?
Yeah. So let's get
come on, Saran.
Let's get through the season because we're having fun now.
Yep.
You know, I was thinking about this, you know, an hour before we started. I go, this is the 6th year we've been doing this together.
Oh, cool.
And every other year we've been losing.
I know.
So it's like, let's have some fun. Let's enjoy it.
Indeed.
Okay, I'm not worried. You know, I'm going to worry about next year after the last game, be it a playoff game. And now I think we're a lot. I mean, 1-7. I said my figure going into the year was 9-7. Well, they're only 2 wins away from 9-7.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, one of the reasons, you know, that Bears fans are constantly talking about the off season is because we're accustomed to it, to your point. But also, you know, the draft is one of the most fun things for football fans. I mean, some people even like it more than watching the games, you know, the evaluating of talent and see which player goes here and hoping that your team gets your guy and stuff. So it's fun. So we're still going to face those questions.
But it's like, I'm not worried about it yet. No, okay. Where are they going to pick? Well, I'll tell you right now, they're not in the top 10. They've already won too many games.
That's right. They'll be in the mid-20s, maybe 32.
I mean you're going to be somewhere, unless they fall apart, and I can't see that happening with this coaching staff, somewhere in the second half of the first round. How far? We'll find out. You know, they win next week, push them down a little more.
Yeah.
Get the playoffs, it pushes you down a little more.
When you were the director of scouting for the Chicago Bears, and even during a good season, would Jerry Angelo, the general manager at the time, come to you and say, I really want you to look really hard at this position, even if you guys were winning, and have your team really focus on this position because I think we need an upgrade there, or somebody's contract is coming up and I don't know if we can re-sign them, anything like that?
Yeah, and that's a good point. I usually knew. Now, a lot of times it would change because you don't know how the season's going to play out. But going into the season, so say we're, you know, September 1st, and I'm starting to go, you know, Labor Day weekend, and I'm starting to go to college games and stuff. I had a preliminary thought in my mind that, you know, A, B, and C would be need positions. And these are areas that I got to see the best players at these positions. Okay. Either in a game and watch tape, so I get a live look in the game, and then I watch the tape, or I got to go to a practice, you know, make a school call. But I got to see them live. You know, now you're on the outside looking in, and you don't necessarily know that. Because I know what a lot of fans think, but what fans think and what the front office think are two entirely different things.
Okay.
You know, if you listen to a lot of the fans, DJ Moore's not going to be here next year. Swift isn't going to be here next year. Cole Kmet's not going to be here next year. Okay. Yeah, I would bet all three of them might be, though. You know, so, you know, you just gotta, you know, what's they're under contract. What's their value to the team? Cole Kmet value is for what he's doing right now, and he's become a hell of a blocker.
Yes.
And you can't run this offense unless you got him.
Yes. I totally agree. And you know, I think a lot of people look at his numbers and say, well, we don't need him anymore. It's like, look closer.
Yeah, well, you can't run this offense unless you got him to do it.
Yes. That's my what do I want to say? My phrase of the day, or maybe the week, look closer. Because I see a lot of people complaining about, you know, Travis Homer, look closer. Cairo Santos, look closer. So many other players that
Why are they here?
They're here for a
reason.
What
is their role?
Yeah.
And know what it is. And I've done this for the last 45 years of my life. And I, you know, so I understand it. But, you know, there's guys, fans don't understand the big picture, and I'm not trying to take a shot at the fans. They just don't get it.
Mhm.
You know, they look at, and I use my group chat. If I ever listen to half the stuff that those guys want to do with that thing, you know, I go, and some of those guys are listening right now. I guarantee it. You know, but there's so many people they want to get rid of. They're going to be here. There's no way they're getting rid of them.
You know who the worst general manager in the National Football League is, Greg?
I don't know who.
The fans.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
I just made that one up. How about that for me? More questions before we get out of here. Let us see what Best Meat Marinade says. Why didn't Ben Johnson keep running to the left side until they stopped it? It seems like Wright hardly gained anything.
You know, I have to watch the tape to find that out. I can't answer that.
Vizzo says, Greg, do you think with some of these defensive players coming back, Bears can make a serious push for a deep playoff run?
You get into playoff football, it's a different game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first of all, you got 7 more games to go, and knock on wood, you stay healthy. You win 4 of those 7, go 4-3. They will be in the playoffs because you'll have a 11-win season.
Yeah,
probably be in with 3 wins.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say that's a lock. But it's once you get into the playoffs, the level, it's like, you watch NHL playoffs. You watch an NHL game during the season, you watch a playoff game, and it's like different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Because
how true is that?
So much more physical. Well, the playoffs are the same way in the NFL. And while they've brought in some guys with playoff experience,
mm-hmm.
guys like Tooney, guys like Jackson, the quarterback's never played in a playoff game. Roma Dunze's never played in a playoff game. Loveland's never played in a playoff game. Has Montez Sweat? I don't think Montez Sweat has played in a playoff game.
No.
So it's guys like that it's going to be new to them. I think the original, my goal was to win first year, looking at the roster, was to win 9. I think it's almost a given that they're going to get 9.
Yeah.
Okay. At this point. Now it's like, okay, let's make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to be pissed off if they lose in the first game? Yeah. But you've hit a goal.
Mm-hmm.
You hit a goal that you accomplished what you wanted going in to that opening season. Now you get in a playoff game, anything can happen. Where's the game? What's the weather?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things to consider.
Which team is the healthiest?
That's right.
Yeah, because that's usually a big indicator of who's going to go far. Sports Chicago Style has a great question. What are your thoughts on the Pope being a guy from Chicago?
I think it's great. Even not gonna. I'm a Catholic, but I'm not a Catholic. So
yeah, I hear you. Same here.
I don't go to church every Sunday,
mm-hmm.
but I have strong faith. If you want to use that as the big, but there's things, and I had a long discussion with my sister about this, and she's like, she won't even go to a Catholic church anymore, and she goes to church. She goes every week, but she won't go to a Catholic church, and just because of all the molestations.
Yeah.
And, not what we want to talk about here, but one of my favorite teachers in high school, at a Catholic high school, Father Itziak, who is now gone, turned out to be the biggest freaking pedophile, if you want to call it that. Yeah. And, all this came out within the last, since I've been here, but I'm going to say within the last 10 years, and it was like, holy cow. And I got a friend of mine my closest friend here, we went to high school together. He lives down Hinsdale way. And, we like, did you see what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And, both of us were like, you just never know. And, that's why a lot of people have left the Catholic Church. But now let's get back to football.
Let's get back to football.
Let's win on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I got Aaron Rodgers to play.
I got one more quick question for you. I got a couple, actually. Last says, are you concerned about Rome's poor efforts lately? I haven't seen poor effort.
I don't see poor efforts. He's had some drops.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get drops because you're trying too hard. Sometimes it's concentration. It's not lack of talent.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Relentless Mikey.
He had a catch yesterday where he was running like a frickin' fullback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he had guys on his back for at least 12, 13 yards.
Big time. Relentless Mikey, we talked at length about your question, so check out the top of the show. David Bryce wants to know, could the Bears still use a gadget player like a Tyreek Cohen? Any idea where he is, how old he is now? I'm just curious because he was pretty fast.
Well, he's not playing ball because he tried to he had the torn ACL here, and then he was going through workouts, and he was taping for Instagram one of his workouts and coming out of a stance, and he popped his Achilles, and you can literally hear it.
Oh, I heard that.
And then so that put him another year out, and then he got into a camp. I think he was in Carolina's practice squad a year ago, but he had an ACL and he had an Achilles. I don't know if it was the same leg, and he just he lost that explosiveness, and then he became just a guy. But he was a special player. But when you get a small guy like that, you're going to get beat up.
Indeed.
Which brings up a point. The quarterback down in Atlanta, he got another ACL yesterday, and he had 2 in college when he was at Indiana before he transferred to Washington. And it's like, hey guys, he had 2 in college.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think it's. If he had 1 in college, it's a thing, but he had 2.
Yeah, indeed. John O'Halloran with a $20 super sticker.
Wow,
Thank you, John. You are very, very generous. Really appreciate you, John. Flex Diggs wants to know, can we beat the Packers twice? I mean, that is the huge part of the last third of the season. We play against the Packers twice. What are our chances of winning at Lambeau and then at Soldier Field?
My original thought process going into the season was I want to, split the division.
Mm-hmm.
So 3-3. I don't care how good Detroit is at home. I think we beat Detroit here.
Yes, I agree.
They are a freaking dome team. You're playing them in December in Chicago, out in the cold, and that is a plus for the Chicago Bears. I think we split with Green Bay at worst, and we split with Green Bay, then we're 3-3 in the division. So to me, that's a plus. Can you win 2? I hope so. I mean, let's see where everybody's at.
Mm-hmm.
Love got hurt a little bit, but he went back in. The running backs hurt. They don't know how bad yet. They'll probably know later today or maybe tomorrow. They'll announce how bad it actually is. But who's going to be where injury wise? They gave up the damn world for Parsons. Parsons hadn't done shit.
Nope. He picks up a sack when the quarterback is being rushed from the other pass rushers. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? They thought it was going to help Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Gary hadn't done anything either.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's not because we're Bears and you don't like the Packers. Packers aren't a very good football team right now.
Right. And I still believe in Matt LaFleur as a good coach. And so if they
I do
fire
too,
Matt LaFleur,
but he's getting killed now. He's getting
he really is.
everything. All the stuff we heard here the last few years, you're hearing north of the border right now.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. My man True Pilgrim wants to know your thoughts about Gervon Dexter. Why isn't he being more impactful? Are you seeing something different than what True Pilgrim and I are seeing?
You know, I'm going to put it this way, and it's the same. You can say the same thing about I'm gone, brain dead. Our defensive end that got hurt.
Dio.
These guys are not necessarily, their impact is not necessarily showing up on the stat sheet, but they're impactful.
I agree with that. Billings, Dexter, Dio, these guys aren't making plays, but we all want Gervon Dexter to have 8-9 sacks.
But see, that's to a fan, the number of sacks equals being impact, and that's not necessarily the case. It's how do you impact a particular play?
Yeah. J2K says, I don't think Dexter gets re-signed. I think we draft his replacement and use the money elsewhere. Those are decisions Ryan Poles is going to have to face, with the way we are.
First of all, he's only in his third year.
So his contract, he's still on the contract in 2026.
Yeah. I mean, you worry about it then.
All right. Let's, I got one more question here. I thought I did. No, we already talked about that. So last question is from me, and that is you've promised that you're guaranteeing a win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where are you on guaranteeing a playoff spot with this team? They are on top of the NFC North, but arguably the toughest part of the schedule is ahead. Is this team, prediction-wise, we're not going to hold you to it. Prediction-wise, do you think that they make the playoffs?
What's the one game I'm missing here? We got Pittsburgh,
I got the
Philadelphia, Green Bay twice, Detroit once. That's 5. Oh, we got to go out to San Francisco. Oh, and Cleveland.
Cleveland. Oh, they got a defense. They got
Cleveland.
a defense.
If Cleveland is a win. It's better than 50-50. Still got to stay healthy. Got to stop shooting yourself in the foot in the middle of a game. Not there yet. Could be. San Francisco's playing better. A couple of weeks ago, I thought that was going to be a win, but they're playing better. There's only 3 more games on the road, so this is a 9. We played 9 games on the road this year, so a lot of road games.
I hate that.
I know, but it is what it is.
But it is nice that 3 of our last 4 games are at home. And Greg, I'm going to go out on a limb saying Steelers are our 8th win. The Packers week 14th are the 9th win. The Browns week 15 are.
So you think we're going to beat Green Bay in Green Bay?
Yes, I really do.
Okay.
And the reason I'm feeling good about that is I see a team imploding. Tucker Kraft injury was terrible for them, and now Jacobs might be out for a prolonged period of time. And if that's indeed the case, I think we win in Green Bay. I really do. And so I got 9, 10. Beating the Browns is going to be tough because of that defense, but that could be the 11th win.
Game's here.
Yeah, but still.
Cleveland's got a good defense, but they can't score. And now they're playing with a rookie quarterback who's like 5'3", and then he got hurt yesterday. So how long he got a concussion, and then so now they got Sanders in. Sanders probably be starting for him next week.
Yep.
Oh no! If you lose to Cleveland, you're an awful football team.
At home, I hear you. So okay, I got Steelers 9, Packers 10, Browns 11. Packers at
But
home.
if you're right, and that's 11 wins after Cleveland, they're already in. You're not going to miss the playoffs with 11 wins.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying this team could have 13 wins by the end of the season. Because if we would just win the home games, that gives us 8, 9, 10, 11. Just the home games. I'm feeling good about this team. I'm feeling really effing good.
Well, good.
Our fans should be too. Greg, who's calling you? Is that Ryan Pace?
No.
I mean, Ryan Bowles. Ryan Pace doesn't call anybody from Chicago anymore. Did you have a relationship with Pace?
It's funny. The first time I met him, when I was working for DC in the XFL, I had I spent like 2 days at the Bears camp. He was terrific.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they gave me all the film I wanted to watch, down there, and just had a great day. He was good, but I met him. Really, it was he wasn't here that long. It was his first year, and we went to a pizza place.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't. What's between Lake Bluff? Couldn't think of the name of it. Okay, so it was in downtown Lake Bluff, if you want to call it.
Okay.
We parked the car, ended up parking the car right in front of his house,
Mm-hmm.
and he walks out of the house with his wife right when we're getting out of the car.
Oh, that's funny.
And that's when I met him.
So, did you guys have a fruitful conversation, or was
it's just I mean, he knew who I was, and we had a friendly conversation, and for 5 minutes, because we were meeting people at this place in Lake Bluff, and it just happens that I had no idea that's where he was living, and but it turned out to be that was his house.
And Jimmy Santilli says we need to get healthy on defense. And that's part of why I am predicting these wins, because we are going to get healthy. Let's hope and promise that we don't add to the injuries. I was concerned yesterday we were going to lose Brisker and Tyreek Stevenson on that one play, that we're going to lose 2 defensive backs in one play. But Stevenson was the only one that got hurt. And so hopefully he won't. It's not a terrible injury, but we're going to get healthier in the defensive.
Well, you might know a little bit more. Ben usually talks around 3
couple hours. Yeah. 2 hours.
So we'll know then. Well, maybe
he'll say
he gets a little, and the fact that he gave guys off, I still think even though he gave them off, there's going to be a bunch of guys in there
coming in for training purposes. Yeah.
Well, anybody who's hurt's got to come in. That you don't get off from that.
Yeah.
But there's other guys who are gonna, because they've been doing it, and it's it's become part of their routine. They're just going to come in anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm feeling really good about this team. It was the first time I have this season said it was an ugly win. It was an ugly win. Can't argue about that. But we won, and we won on the road against a divisional opponent and a team that offers exotic looks on defense that usually quarterbacks have a hard time with. But we nonetheless prevailed, and I'm really, really happy for our team. And I'm really, really happy about working with this guy, Greg Gabriel. We'll see you next Monday after the Bears beat the Steelers.
Yes, sir. I'll be in Detroit land.
All right. I want to thank everyone, particularly those who are with us every show. Big time thanks. And thanks
I told my wife, because she's working, I said, when you go into work, why don't you say that the Bears are first place and the Lions are out of the playoffs? If she goes, I will never do that.
Not if she wants to have a friendship with their coworkers. That's for sure.
I know.
And particularly thanks to those who donated: Thomas, Lutz, Kanji X, and John Halloran. Thank you very much. We'll see you all next Monday. Take care.
See you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wait a minute. I got one little piece of, what did I do with it? Oh, my dog died yesterday. I had a picture. Oh, there it is. There it is. I love you, Dudo. Hope you're happy in your new home. Take care, fella. I miss you.